Hi, I'm John Brooks, and I chose a topic of physical education and technology for my project, and I'm going to be teaching PE at the Camden Fairview School District, and I thought it'd be applicable to research these types of things for ways to incorporate this stuff into my classroom if at all possible. I'm going to be teaching PE and coaching football for the team, so here we go. Objectives in this we'll start with introduction, and we'll talk about the current state of the student. We'll look at some classroom application, a broad view of that, and then we'll go into depth about some of the tools we utilize to apply these technologies to the PE classroom. And then we'll look at something that I think is important and something that I value, which is community enrichment and involvement. And then we'll have a quick wrap up. Just as an introduction, we'll look at this quote right here. Teacher candidates will demonstrate knowledge of current technology by planning and implementing learning experiences that require students to appropriately use technology to meet lesson objectives. This quote, this doesn't say history teachers or math teachers or any certain type of teacher. It says teacher candidates. That's every subject, very broad spectrum for a reason, because it's expected that everyone be able to utilize these types of things and incorporate them where it's valuable to the student and to their success. As we looked at, the use of technology is increasing in all facets of life and at all stages. We look at a student at home. He or she's got access to their computers, video games they play, the phones, tablets. Any of these examples they have access to at home, and then when they leave home and they go to school, they still have access to these things. They still use computers. They use tablets in school for research or whatever it might be. There's smart boards in many classrooms across the country which are interactive, different forms of technology that we use at school as well. So even when we leave the house, we're not getting away from it. And then when we go home from school or on the weekends, extracurricular activities, if you're going to church, you have the prompter, which might have the word of the day or the songs you're singing or whatever technology you might use. When you go there, it's still being utilized and you're not getting away from it. You go to your friend's house, you're still using stuff that you use at your own home. They have computers. You go to your friend's house to play video games, play on phones, take videos of each other, Snapchat each other, things like that. Even when we go outside, when we're playing outside now, kids are viewing and recording things as they do them, and they're sharing it with friends, and that's just the world we live in, and that's what we do. And utilizing technology prepares these students to be competent in other areas of life, and they'll be expected to know these things and how to use them later on in life when they get done with school. So we look at the state of the current student. As it relates to mobile devices, use of smartphones, daily in 2015 at the elementary level was 53% of students said they use a smartphone daily. In the middle school it was 66%, and high school at 82%. And that they've increased from 2014, which was 44% at elementary, 58% at middle school, and 75% in high school. And that was 2 years ago that we saw this increase. So we can only assume that it's even increased even more since then. Wi-Fi and internet access. We look at public, over 9% of public schools have access to the internet, and students are allowed to use that. At home, students surveyed that over 80% of students have internet access, whether it be through Wi-Fi and computers at the house or just through data on their cell phones. They have access to the internet and they're using technology. We look real quick at classroom applications. This will be a broad view of ways we can apply to the classroom. We'll look at individual fitness monitors, which can help motivate and see real-time data, which we'll talk more in depth. We got pedometers, heart rate monitors, the smartphone, a smartwatch, anything like that. We got mobile devices that are being used in the classrooms. The record fitness exercises. We get more in detail. Video analytics, critique and evaluate with mobile devices. Look at accessible and adaptable programs. It could be online programs or portfolios. They allow the student to see improvement over time or track and record what they're doing, what their goals are, what they've done to try to achieve those goals, and let's see what goals they need to set. It can be something as simple as a spreadsheet to a program that's implemented school district wide. We'll look again, and then there's extra games, which is the actual use of video games to promote exercise, and video games that utilize exercise and physical movement and exertion to accomplish the game or accomplish the goal in the game. You have to physically move and be active. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the tools used in the classroom application. We'll go into detail about the applications we just talked about. Looking at first a pedometer. It's something that's very simple. It can clip onto a belt. They can hold onto it as they're exercising. It tracks and counts the steps as the students are exercising and working out in the gymnasium, in the physical education classroom setting. It gives them a strong visual representation where they get to look down and say, this is how many steps I've taken. This is what I've done. It gives them the ability maybe to compare and contrast with their friends, with their peers, the ones they want to compete against, the ones they want to beat. You want to beat your best friend Bob at steps and exercising. That's motivation. That's a new way to reach a kid, or reach a student that needs to be motivated. You can compare and contrast. As a teacher, you could look at what this guy's doing compared to this girl or this guy. Whatever they're doing, you could compare and see, are we getting a lack of effort from one student? Are we getting exceptional effort from another one? Recognizing our shortcomings and our great efforts, whatever they might be. You can set goals for steps. You get to motivate them. They get to see themselves reach those goals as they accomplish it. They get to see themselves come to that milestone, which is what they're headed for. It's cheap to implement. These are really cheap. You can get about 150 in bulk for $250, which it's less than a couple of dollars a piece for a low end. It's not going to be a high end technical thing, but it's something that can work and actually benefit the student, and it's less than $2 a piece to implement, and those can be used for every physical education classroom across the campus, not just each student takes one for the day, use them while they're in class. Moving on, we look at heart rate monitor, and it's similar to a pedometer, but it's going to be a little more advanced and actually yield better results. This is actually, you get to see the level of exertion and what their heart rate is as they're exercising. So you really get to take advantage of maximum efficiency in their exercise. What's their goal? Are they looking for fat loss, fitness, aerobic capacity? There's certain heart rates that evaluate and get you into that zone that you need to be working from, and this gives you the ability to see what zone these students are working in. If their goal is to burn fat, then they're going to work at a certain heart rate at a certain speed, and this is what you have to discover, and this gives you the ability to do that. It's not necessarily cost effective. These are more expensive. But when you get into these, a lot of the times they include a pedometer as well, so you have the ability to have the pedometer and the step counter and the heart rate monitor and all the things involved. It's the best results when you have both together, because you're seeing how far they're traveling, how much distance they're traveling, how many steps they're taking, and comparing that with the type of exercise they're doing. Are they going at a brisk pace where their heart rate's where they need to be to accomplish the goals that they're trying to accomplish? Moving past that, we go into smartphones and their iPads and tablets. We could use a smartphone to actually record the exercise, and this gives there's different programs to utilize that can be video analytics, where the video actually analyzes and sees where the student might be coming short or what they're doing wrong that's affecting their technique or their stamina during. Are they exerting too much? They can self-assess on this. They can watch themselves and see what they're doing wrong and really have a chance to evaluate themselves as they go forward, which can be applicable and helpful in other stages of life as well. There's applications to use. They're easily accessible. Most students already have them, and if they don't, you've probably got enough in the classroom where you could break up into groups and partners, and each student record each other. They're easily implemented as well because of their accessibility, because they're so relevant and everyone's got them. You can implement this style or this technology easily into your classroom. Looking at accessible and adaptable programs or software. A few to name is TriFit, FitnessGram, ActivityGram, and PE Manager. We'll talk real quick about FitnessGram and ActivityGram because those two actually work together congruently, and they are more common in schools than any of the rest. But these programs give you the ability to log on and get online and log days, weeks, months, whatever it might be. You can view progression, date over time through the website. You can look at what did I do last week compared to what am I doing this week? How am I getting to my goals? It develops individual reports for individual students. What are their shortcomings and what do they need to improve on? It individualizes that based on their data. It's accessible to the student, the parent, the teachers, and the administrators. So you get a full team effort. You get everyone working together, and everyone can see what this student needs to work on and where they need help. And that's only beneficial for the student if they have more people in their corner working with them to achieve the goal that they have. Continue with programs and software. Something as simple as Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, where the teacher gets to record exercise for that day. What did they do that day? Using something simple as a stopwatch, maybe for their timed mile. Whatever it might be, you can record over time and keep adding into the spreadsheets and see where these students are improving and where they're falling short and what they need to work on. They're cheap and already accessible through the school. Every school's got Microsoft Office already, where you have a spreadsheet program you can use. And if you have the iPhone or the smartphone applications, you already have health built into those. They have pedometers and distance trackers and all that stuff already built into the phone. And then even take it a step further with downloading apps that can be helpful, that could record nutrition, your intake on calories and everything like that. There's so many different programs and software that you can use that could really benefit a child. And the more they understand it, the more they have to use it, the better off they'll be trying to use it later on. Here's an example of what a spreadsheet might look like. If you look over here to the left, you see the date, and you see the progression of the date all the way down throughout the year. And you see how many steps they took this day. So this kid could compare how many steps they took in February or in January. And what did they do? How much did they travel? What did they weigh? You could record their weight and see where their weight's going, whether it's fluctuating, whether it's going up or going down. There's really an endless amount of information you can provide on these spreadsheets. As much as you want to do, as much work as you want to put into it, you can put into it and get whatever value you want out of it. And the kids will be able to look at it, and you can print it off for them. They can see the report themselves. Real quick, a look at extra games. These are something that kids love. Video games. It's something that is growing, and it's something that's implemented in most homes. And if you implement it in the school, great. If you're going to do it, it's not cost efficient at all. It's going to be expensive. But look at these games. They're inclusive and fun. The kids enjoy doing what they're doing. And this is something that they love doing. They go home and play video games. They get to do this at school. Great. They get to build self-esteem. Maybe they don't have to worry about people looking at them because they know everyone's looking at the computer screen trying to complete the game the same way they are. And that's a positive for them if that's the way they see it. It's a social experience. They get to have fun and interact with other people, and whether it be competitive or just in good fun. They get to experience that and do things that they're comfortable with. Looking real quick, this is something I think is very important and something that I think as instructors we should all have something to do with this and should take pride in this. But it's the use of software program could be for the community. They could use that too. The parents could use that, and if the parents are working with the students, maybe they're going to be more active as well, and it's going to be better for them. You look at the school website and information. You could post on there as an instructor, post information for parents to use, where they get to access information. What maybe they don't know what a kid needs to do when they get home from school. Maybe they don't know that he needs to go exercise, or that they need to go for a walk. They need someone to do that with them. That's our job. Is we can provide them with that information because they might not know. And you can email a newsletter. You can send emails out, personalized emails for each student if you wanted to get that in depth with it. But there's a way to involve the community, which creates overall success for the student and for everyone in the community, not just the student, which is something that's pretty cool, and you get to have a chance to be a part of that. Let's look at the reflection. We know it'd be difficult to walk into school and not see all the positives going on, all the technology in the classroom. And looking at it's beneficial for the entire school. It's not limited to one course and not to the other, and not allowed to be in the other course. It's very broad. It can be used on many different spectrums. In conclusion, the world's always changing, and we need to take pride in implementing those things that that we can do to enrich students and help them and their families.